Gacha Kuta, despite having a name that's harder to pronounce than supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, it has taken the world by storm. But I genuinely believe that it is not as popular as it deserves to be. And there's a few reasons for this, but the main one is how unique it is as a shonen anime. But before we get into it, I have a fun little factoid for you. I already recorded this whole video, and you want to know what I did? I accidentally deleted it thinking that I didn't need it. Haha! Oh yeah. I need to stop doing that. This is like the 4th time. But regardless, I know I'm a bit late to this. Shut up. But I know a lot of anime extremists out there probably heard me say that it's one of the most unique shonen and had a temper tantrum. But I don't even think this is just down to opinion. I genuinely believe there is no arguing how unique this is compared to the rest. There is a lot of comparisons you can make with, JJK and even Demon Slayer, for example. And you can basically compare any shonen to a similar shonen that has a similar premise or a similar power system or something like that. But when it comes to Gacha Kuta, there is not a shonen that I have seen that I can actually connect it to in any sort of way. And that is mainly down to how unique the power system is, because that is my biggest talking point about this show, is how cool the power system is. The whole idea about cherished objects from person to person becoming these like Avenger level threat type of weapons is just so cool. Like the whole premise of it being, a cherished object that specific person has looked after and cared for however many years, and that is what gives it the power. It's just so cool and unique, and I haven't seen anything similar to that. And it just makes for a wide variety of powers. Like even in our main cast of characters, like I'm not going to be able to say all of their names because I'm sorry, I'm terrible with like Japanese names or like, less common names in general. So there are a few that I'm not going to know the name of, but I'll put a picture up for you. Like for example, we have, Engine with the umbrella, and the abilities of the umbrella are varied. A lot of the time we see him turn into a torpedo with the fucking thing. He uses it to fly down from the sky like Mary Poppins at times, and it has a wide variety of different abilities. Like I'm pretty sure he blocks bullets and shit like that at some point. And then you have somebody like Rika or whatever the fuck her name is, where her vital instrument is a pair of scissors, but whenever she activates its power, it turns into this giant pair of scissors that she uses her foot to maneuver. Then you have one of the kids who wears a fucking, kaiju costume for the entire show, and we don't even see what her power is until the last or second last episode. And her ability is she can literally turn into a fucking kaiju. And the last example that I'm gonna bring up that is definitely not least, Rudo's ability with his gloves, where he can bring out the untapped potential of any object he wants. And then you have people like Jabber, who has like the Freddy Krueger claws and shit, Like it's just endless. Every single person's abilities are so unique to them that it makes every character unique when you see them fight. Like yeah, there could be an argument like in Demon Slayer, you can tell the difference between the different Hashira's fighting techniques and styles and yada yada yada, but it's still just sword fighting at the end of the day. But in this show, you have so many different possibilities, and I even love the fact that you can't tell what the ability is when you first see it. I'll explain that a little bit better. A lot of the times, especially say with the two kid characters, the one guy with the pacifier and then the girl that has the kaiju suit, but it gets you guessing from when you see them to the second last episode as to what abilities those things give them. And I think that just adds a whole different layer of just, intrigue with this show, especially for me. Every time I seen a new character come on screen, I was trying to figure out what their vital instrument is, and if it was an obvious vital instrument, I was trying to figure out what it would be like when it is in that form. It just adds a whole different layer of mystery and intrigue to any character that is going to be introduced from here on out. Like the woman who looks after the Giver headquarters, her vital instrument is her glasses. So she's able to, I guess, see the aura around people and kind of guess what type of abilities or something they have. That's what I got from when she first met Rudo anyway. She's able to see something about people. The actual scale and variety of this could be even more than I'm imagining right now, but it is equally as exciting across the board. But that's not what this whole video is going to be about, because if it was only, the power system that was unique and intriguing, I wouldn't be making this video. The story itself is so cool, and Like, I'm assuming that people that are watching this have seen the show, okay? If not, this might get a bit confusing here. But I have a theory that this show is going to do the exact same thing that Attack on Titan did. Because one of the biggest things that people bring up that separates Attack on Titan from the regular shonen, and that is that in typical shonen, we are made aware of the character's main objective within the first 2 to 3 episodes. Be that with Demon Slayer, when Tanjiro goes on his quest to try and cure his sister who got turned into a demon. That has stayed true from the start of the show up until where we're at now. Now, with Attack on Titan, he says that I am going to kill all the Titans in the second episode, giving the viewer the impression that that is going to be the whole thing. That is where the story is going to end up, because that is what usually happens. Only for them to throw many curveballs at you and completely change the story's direction to a point that it's unrecognizable. And I think that's exactly what's going to be happening with Gachakuta, because he says when he's getting sent down to the pit that he is going to kill everyone. He's going to come back and kill them all, making us believe that that is his primary objective, which for a good part of the show, it is. But some keen observers of the show might have realized that he has already turned down an opportunity to get back up to the sphere. Maybe at that point, his only chance to get up to the sphere, he turns it down because he doesn't want to leave his newfound family of the Givers. Now, there could be a whole lot of nuance in there because, you know, this is the bad guy, he doesn't like the bad guy, and, you know, the Givers would have died if he went and stuff like that. I still think that that is enough of a character progression that is not his main objective anymore. He might still want to do it if he ever gets given the chance with the Givers. I'm sure he will take it, and that's where I'm going to go with this. I say that he is going to get a chance to go up to the sphere with whoever. They go up to the sphere, he's ready to wreck some shit, and let's say, for example, the girl who dropped the teddy bear that Rudo got for her. So I think they go up to the sphere and maybe she comes up and apologizes to him and, you know, explains herself in some sort of way in a way that gets true to Rudo, and maybe that will skew his objective up there, you know? And then he'll go on some other objective, I guess. I don't know fully, but what I'm trying to say is I think that what we believe, or where we believe the story to be going, is not where it's going to go. And there is a lot of things to praise about this show. 100% there is. The art style is really cool. Really good to look at, especially the intro song. My God. Like, the intro song I'm not mad about, because I'm not mad about like the hard rock or anything like that. Well, I don't mind hard rock, but that specific song I'm not too crazy about. But the visuals of the intro is just sick. Like, it's so creative. But like, the animation is not the biggest thing that I enjoy about this show. So compared to other stuff that I've reviewed in the past, it isn't the best animated out of the bunch. But with that said, I'm still more interested in this show than I would for any of the other really well animated shows. And that's because of one key detail: the difference between the sphere and the ground. There's so much mystery involving the biggest, like, you know, I wouldn't say plot point, but just the biggest thing in the show being the separation between the sphere and the ground. Like, I said it within the first 2 episodes, I think, that I believe that it is a representation of heaven, the sphere anyway, and the ground might be some sort of representation of hell, I guess, which is why the trash monsters are a thing. The ground metaphor is a bit far-fetched, I will admit. I definitely do believe that the sphere is representative of heaven, and that is because of one key detail. It's not because, you know, the sphere is clean and they're full of a bunch of clean freaks, and it's not because of their zero tolerance for any sort of malice or bad deeds. It is because of what Rudo sees when he is fallen to the ground. He sees a biblically accurate portrayal of an angel. We even see it later in the season, where that is where I was 100% confirmed in my belief that that is the border between heaven and earth. And that's just one, like, detail, one bullet point of all of the things that I want to mention about that whole separation, because there's so much mystery there, you know? Like, why is the sphere dropping all of their junk onto the ground? Was there ever a time in history where the ground looked like our own, like normal fucking society? And then that raises another question. Why did they start dumping their junk? Like, we don't know. Why is there a border there? You know, like so many questions like this. Who is Rudo's father? Like, what is his place in this show? Because we have heard so much about him from episode 1. People giving Rudo a hard time because his father was apparently a serial killer. And when he left Rudo, he left him with the burns on his hand that he deals with the pain of daily, which then results in Regato going and getting, you know, the Watchmen series gloves to give to Rudo, which in turn made him want to take care of them and look after them and cherish them, which in turn, when he goes down to the ground, makes them a vital instrument. I think there is a misconception about his father. I believe there is. And I think Rudo's father and Regato have a bit more of a connection than the show lets on. Because how the fuck did Regato get the fucking vital instrument? How did he get the Watchmen series gloves? Every other piece of the Watchmen series we have seen is on the ground. And the only time we ever see any of the vital instruments in action is on the ground. So is it a ground specific ability, or is it just the fact that people up in the sphere just don't take care of their items, and if there's a simple nick in the thing, they throw it out? So I think Regato and Rudo's dad has some sort of past on the ground, because like you can't deny that there is definitely something fishy going on there. Because then we get to the point of like Regato getting assassinated by some random masked guy who even goes as far as to stand in the audience as Rudo is getting blamed for his crime. My first theory is that that is Rudo's father. Like, it could be, but I have a new theory that might, like, you know, throw that out the window, or it might actually amplify it, depending how you look at it. Because everything that happened stemmed from the fact that Rudo's father left Rudo with the burns on his hands. So I don't think it would be very far-fetched to say that Rudo's father, I think, might have some sort of vital instrument that allows him to see the path of like the timeline or something like that. Or he's able to see something big that happens in the future that changes the course of the world, and he realizes there's certain plot beats that he needs to hit to get to that point. Because why else would he just burn his child's hands willy-nilly just to do it, you know? Like, what reason would there be? Fabulous, of course. Haven't been recording all day. As soon as I fucking click record, my father starts drilling. Lovely. But like, hear me out here. I might be sounding like I'm on some wacky pills or something, but what if his father burned his hands on purpose, knowing that Regato would eventually go and get the Watchmen series gloves? That again feeds into the, you know, connection between the two, and knowing his son, he would know that he would take care of them and cherish them. And if he's from the ground, he would know if he cherished them and looked after them, if he ever goes down to the ground, they will be a vital instrument. But to get him to go to the ground, what if he donned the mask, killed Regato, and basically pinned it on Rudo, so he would get blamed for the crime and get sent down to the ground, and, you know, start the whole chain of events that we've watched for a season? That might be a bit of a reach, but I love when a show makes me do this type of thinking, you know? Like, just theorizing and trying to come up with what's gonna come next and yada yada yada. That is my sign that something has been written well. Like, all of these things, like, bring into question, how did the Watchmen series end up in the sphere? Like, how did it end up there when every single other piece of the set that we know of so far is on the ground, and the Raider boss has it? Somebody who has been trying to get to the sphere for God knows how long, and failed multiple times. And Regato especially is very, like, sus. I think he's an imposter. I think he is somebody who was from the ground that somehow made his way up to the sphere in one way or another. Because they wouldn't have written him with so much mystery behind him if there wasn't a reason for it. I think it's going to be a big, like, plot twist type of moment. I don't know too much about this universe, and anything that I have said in this video of me theorizing or anything like that, don't tell me anything. Don't tell me if I was wrong. If you tell me I was wrong and then tell me the real thing that happens, I'm gonna cry. You're gonna see a grown man throw a hissy fit. I am just saying these things to bring up the point of how cool it is. You know, I haven't had a show do this to me since Attack on Titan. It just excites me because they can do so much with it. There's so much shit, so many different ways that they can bring this story. And it's only the first season, so, like, God knows like what Rudo is going to be like in the last season, because the fact that they've left so much shit up to interpretation, and especially the Regato and the guy in the mask connection and shit, like how did Regato know that the Watchmen series gloves would help dull Rudo's pain, makes me believe that they are going to be the big plot, like the big plot twist or big plot point that changes the trajectory of the story. But the show itself is so good. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. Like, I don't think I was bored with a single episode because, and this is not a throwaway point, it's actually a huge one for the show, this show is fucking hilarious, bro. It is funny. Like, even after the final battle, when they literally just escaped death, motherfuckers are just flaked out on the ground, just chilling. But yeah, there's so many factors as to why I enjoy this show, and I fear if I keep talking about it, I'm just gonna keep going around in circles. So for anyone who has read the manga, please let me know down below if I should be as excited as I am for it. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like because it helps with the algorithm, and it also helps me judge if the video is good. But I have a plethora of different content, different types of content on the channel: movie commentaries, TV show commentaries, random Reddit reading videos, and so on and so forth. If you like my face and you want to see more, go and check that out. There's plenty. Oh, almost knocked over my monster. But yeah, there's plenty of other different types of content on the channel if you're interested. But yeah, folks, with that said, hope you've enjoyed, and if there's any other animes that you think I would enjoy given my take on this one, let me know down below as well. But with that all said, it's been EXO, and I hope you all have a good one. Toodaloo, folks.